Fatima is risking her and the baby's life trying to play super fiance because Zach asked her to help Connie with her CPS, cancer, and homeless problems. And Bryce asked Angela to marry him even though she has broken things off with him a million times and they're not even in a relationship. Child, we have a lot to get into, so let's talk about it. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you are watching this. Hey y'all, hey! So as you already read the title down below, I am recapping season 4, episode 12 of Tyler Perry's Zatima. But before I get into my thoughts, y'all make sure y'all like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and comment your pre-recap thoughts of the show. So, on the opening, I'm instantly irritated and cringing because we see Angela and Charles getting it on, and Charles is acting like he is lifting some heavy weights in the gym with all the groaning he was doing and face expressions he was giving off. Now, if y'all don't remember, Charles is the new security guard Zach just hired to look out after Fatima. And when him and Angela met, she was flirting with him, but he wasn't really entertaining it because he said, he was on duty. But I guess the moment Zach relieved him, he went to relieve himself all up and through Angela, child. And she clearly couldn't wait because she is always horny. At this point, is it the weight loss shots? Her ego? Like, what is it? I understand being sexually free and liberated, but my God, Angela, rest the cat. I beg. Mind you, it's a new day when all this is happening, so Charles is now late to get into Zach and Fatima's house to start his shift. But this fool had the nerves to tell Angela that he would be okay with getting fired by Zach because she was worth it. Baby, she got that glitter, okay? Mind you, he knows nothing about this girl. All he did was, get his rocks off, and now he's acting like she's the love of his life. But in the same breath, asking her to give him, a chance. And I'm just flabbergasted at all of this, honestly, truly. Moving on to Zach and Fatima, we get to their house and Zach wakes up horny and tries to get, some nugget from his pregnant fiance. And I'm just dumbfounded because they just got done cleaning up a sick, weak, vomiting Connie. And on top of that, she is downstairs. And from what I can tell from their, house setup, they don't have no doors. It's basically built like a loft. So the girl is bound to hit them hunching. Okay? But Zach don't care. He still wants some, but that doesn't happen because, it's too uncomfortable for Fatima with that big old belly. And Connie yells from downstairs saying she can barely hear them. And if they want to keep going, she can put her headphones on. And I swear to God, I had to pause my TV and then I had to cut it off just for a quick minute, just for a little bit, because ain't no way they thought they were going to do that without her hearing. And more importantly, ain't no way she actually responded to them knowing what they were doing or trying to do. That was crazy as hell to me, okay? Especially knowing that is his damn ass. That is just crazy. But anyways, once they got fully up and dressed, Fatima went downstairs and saw that Connie basically destroyed their kitchen trying to cook. It was her way of showing appreciation to them, helping her out. But my thing is, Connie can't cook. And she just burned down her own place via the kitchen. So what in her right mind thought cooking for them was a good idea? As I'm watching, all I can think about is Connie saying she doesn't want to, be a burden to them, but she continues to be a damn burden, just adding more and more mess and stress to her list. Well, to their list, actually. Now, speaking of more mess, Fatima looked over Connie's, CPS order, and she had an emergency hearing the same day. But Fatima told her the court-approved attorney, she got may not help her, so she and Zach will get her a lawyer. I don't know. This just feels like a lot. But this is Fatima's and Zach's, typical MO. They always want to save the world, and once they get going, nothing can stop them. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not mad at them for helping Connie. I just feel like Fatima already has too much on her plate right now. I really want her to, have a successful pregnancy, but every 5 minutes, she's getting put into another, stressful situation. And what really got me was when Fatima told Zach she planned, to support Connie in court until, they can get her an lawyer, attorney. And Zach responded with, I didn't know you would want to do that. Huh? You're the one who brought this situation to her in the first place. And you know exactly how your fiance is. So stop the cap. Stop the BS. You knew she was going to throw herself fully into helping Connie. Especially after hearing her story and eventually, seeing everything she's going through. Zach, please, you know. But what's really not adding up for me is the fact that Fatima is supposed to be on bed rest and avoiding unnecessary stress. That was the entire reason Zach went to get her things from the office so she can work from home. But now suddenly she's back outside, back in the field, handling court situations. What is actually going on here? Are we just ignoring the plot now, or did the writers forget what they already established? Because none of it is making sense right now. Zach was literally snapping on Fatima earlier for wanting to go back to work, but now he's perfectly fine with her running around and helping Connie and going to court. Huh? So after all that, we end up back at Angela's place where Charles' ass is still hanging around, and now Bryce has popped up too. At this point, it's just getting weird. It is getting freaking weird. And as much as I want to blame Bryce for his stalker-like obsessive behavior towards Angela, I also have to start blaming Angela a little bit because she keeps enabling it. So when Charles opened the door, Angela told him to, let Bryce in, and then had the nerve to ask Bryce, why was he there? Why is he here? And I'm sitting here confused because why did you even let him in? Because I'm not letting nobody into my house that I didn't invite. Period. Especially not when you already got another man sitting there and around you. Granted, I know Angela don't give a flying fuck about Charles being there, but still, it's the principle of the thing. Then Angela tells both Charles and Bryce that, she doesn't want a relationship with either one of them. And I'm aggravated because she has told Bryce this 1,010,000 times, and he still refuses to get the picture. Meanwhile, Charles should have been satisfied with getting him some and, heading off to work. I don't even know why he's trying to force some little romantic moment with Angela. Sir, read the room and go home, Roger. Well, in this case, go to work. And then on top of all this, Angela brings up Sean. And honestly, I felt bad for Sean because he was catching strays and he wasn't even there. And truthfully, Sean hasn't really done anything wrong. Hell, if we're being honest, I like Sean the most out of everybody. So seeing Angela ready to cut him off was too crazy, especially because he was not there. But then again, Sean doesn't listen either because he keeps trying his hardest to convince Angela, that she should be with him. So it's just a nonstop whirlwind of Angela and a whole bunch of men, okay? But what I really want to know is what exactly is Angela's, end goal? Like, what does she actually want? Does she genuinely wants to be single? Does she want a relationship, just not with the man, and the men currently in front of her? Like, what is it? I need the writers to have her say it out loud because right now I'm genuinely confused. I know she says she doesn't want a relationship, but how true is that really? How true is it? Because then she'll act like she do. It's so weird, man. I don't know. I don't know. So after snapping on all the men, Charles finally leaves and Bryce starts telling Angela that he needs her in his life, even if it's just as friends. But the problem is Bryce cannot handle being just friends with Angela because he constantly crosses boundaries and ignores limits after she repeatedly tells him to stop. Angela even points out that they already tried the friendship route before and he violated that too. Then Bryce says he didn't mean to, but sir, you're literally still doing it. At this point, get out. I need Bryce escorted out of this woman's house immediately. But of course, plot twist, Bryce has to keep professing his deep love and admiration for Angela before, randomly blurting out that, he wants to marry her. And that right there is the moment Angela should have called the police, because clearly Bryce has lost his damn mind. Sir, this woman just told you she does not want a relationship with you. So why on earth would you think she wants to marry you? Judge, come lock him up. But once again, like I said earlier, Angela enables Bryce's behavior, because the second he said all that, she looked flattered, talking about, do you really mean that? And do you actually see me as your wife? Girl, why are you even asking these questions if you supposedly don't want this man? You don't want a relationship at all, really. So why are you so worried about is he serious or not? Then Bryce responded. Bryce responds and says, I don't know. I want it if you want it. And Angela got irritated with him all over again. And I screamed, because that's exactly what she gets for entertaining the foolishness in the first place. So Bryce finally gives up and starts walking out. But Angela stops him and tells him she'll give him one more chance at a friendship. And y'all already know Bryce over there grinding, grinning from ear to ear. But listen, if Bryce crosses boundaries with her again, I honestly don't want to hear any more complaints, because Angela is absolutely playing tug of war with this man's heart and emotions at this point. And if I'm being real, she likes it. She likes the attention, the obsession of how hard Bryce goes for her. It turns her on a little bit, and she needs to stop acting like she playing hardball when she really playing soft. But moving on, we finally get to Connie's emergency hearing with CPS, and a woman trying to keep Connie's kids away from her was really going crazy on her in that court. She was basically using Connie's cancer against her and framing it as neglect, which is wild as hell. I can't even lie. But I will say the judge was at least trying to, be fair and hear both sides. Now, my flabbers were completely gasted when the hearing ended and Fatima asked Connie to finally tell her truth about, the apartment fire. And Connie admitted that her son Hakeem was the one in the kitchen trying to fix the food for his siblings, because Connie had fallen asleep after chemo. So all this time she had us fooled thinking it was her. Whole time she was lying. Connie was lying. So she was lying to us, lying to the lawyer, lying to CPS, and the court the entire time. But honestly, I don't even think she needed to lie. I truly believe a really good lawyer could have helped her fight this case without all the dishonesty, especially since Connie doesn't seem to have a horrible history with her children. Plus, she mentioned that CPS wasn't even trying to help her with after-school programs or any additional support, despite knowing she has cancer. That alone could have worked in her favor, because where was the compassion? Where was the assistance? It sounds like they were more focused on punishing her than actually helping, the family. But now that lie is probably going to make things 10 times harder for her to get those kids back, because once the court catches you being dishonest, it damages your, credibility completely. But still, we'll have to see how it plays out. So while everybody is getting ready to leave, a police officer suddenly walks into the courtroom asking about Tony's Jeep. And I'm over here thinking maybe Tony parked illegally or something minor like that, But nah, Tony is going downtown, baby. Baby. Now, what shocked me the most is that he didn't even try to fight it. The officer barely said one thing about the Jeep, and Tony immediately hit him with "It's me, officer. Arrest me, arrest me." Like, damn, boy. You ain't even gonna try to fight for your life? Like, what? Now, I know the guilt from killing that man and covering up has clearly been eating Tony alive. And truthfully, I do think he needed to face consequences eventually, because even though it started as self-defense, he still chose to cover it up afterwards when he really didn't have to. But the way he completely folded under pressure was insane to watch. What irritated me the most, though, was Tony saying he didn't want his friends finding out because he didn't want them to, think he was a monster. And I'm just sitting there confused, because, sir, they are going to find out eventually regardless. There was no way the secret was staying buried forever. And honestly, if anything, your friends know your character better than anybody else. They probably would have, been your biggest support system through all of this. So his whole reaction and reasoning just didn't fully make sense to me. But the biggest shock of all is the fact that Tony basically snitched on himself after getting away with it for so long. That absolutely was mind-blowing to me. And I need the next episode immediately because now I have to see how this whole thing plays out. But we know they're going to drag it. But anyways, that's all for my recap of episode 12. You already know what to do. Like this video and show your girls some love. Leave a comment and let's discuss your thoughts on Zatima. And last but certainly not least, subscribe and join the Queen, baby. Bye.